to know that you're in a game and there's not very many options in that game. So when we're thinking about a game, you've got to understand that the person who brought you into this business, the person who you work for, the person that they all work for, these are all players in a game. Why is this important? There's so many times that you think you are the whole game, that your experience, your situation, what you are doing is the game in its entirety, and you have to make sure that you get this perspective correct. Because once you understand that you are just a player in a game, then you have to make some very distinct choices. Because if you don't actually have a plan on how you are going to play the game, then you need to understand that you are just a pawn in someone else's game. Meaning they are going to move you as a piece on the board or eliminate you as a piece on the board to be able to do whatever it is that they want to do to advance in their game, their career, or in that company. Now, as difficult as that may be, the key to playing this game and a very relevant component to playing in a game is the simple fact that people still matter. And so, even though you may not feel like you played the game well, or you played the game well, or that you just got played, at the end of the day, there are things you can control, and that's the quality of how you show up in the relationships that are around you. Now, because it is a game, you have to understand that there are more than one player playing. So I used to always think about it like this, that when you have multiple houses of power, leaders at the very top, they're all going to try to make sure that they're creating gaps and holes and advancing beyond the other houses of power that are trying to be able to have that space to be able to get their team up the chain in control as quickly as possible. But so many of us think that that type of a game only exists in a corporate environment, but in reality, it's probably everywhere. There's probably a little bit of gameplay in relationships like your marriage or with friendships or in families. There's always somebody vying for power, and I call that the battle for relevance. And one of the greatest things that I've learned in the last 12 months is that you have to recognize the game that you're in so that that way you can know how to play the game well. And it's horrible to be thinking that everything is gamified, but when you think about it in a game format, you realize that there are rules, there are advantages, there are penalties, there are alliances that can be made, there are power positions, there are there are ways that you could get skipped on a turn. I mean, there's so many different components that gameplay, since we were kids, actually helps prepare us to understand how impactful these things can be in a situation where you're trying to understand what's happening to you. And we've always said things that are intriguing because it shows up in our language, it shows up in our jargon, but I don't know that everybody realizes how important when you feel that way, it's an indication of what you're in. So I remember that there always used to be these statements like, I feel like I'm getting played. Well, you're probably right. You just need to figure out what the game is that you're playing or that you're in. Because if, like I said, if you don't have a plan, then that means yes, you are getting played. Someone is moving you strategically where they feel like there could be an advantage. And it doesn't mean that they have to like you or not like you. At the end of the day, this is a very, very selfish motive, no matter how you conduct your world. And if you get a chance to have a reset, what are you going to do with that? If you get a chance to go from working in a company to being your own business or your own boss, Are you going to create a game? Are you going to manage a game? Even more importantly, do you have a plan? Because I can tell you that there's always going to be some game you're in. If you're in a business, the market could be playing a game. If you are in another company, your bosses, the company could be playing a game. But at the end of it all, be aware and lean on a strength that it becomes so vital, and that's relationships. Because those relationships when things are good can solidify and protect you. Those relationships when things get difficult can give you insight as to things that you might not even be thinking about. Those relationships when it all goes sideways can be the people that pick you up and encourage you to keep going. I hope you're enjoying these, and I hope this helps your days keep going. Have an amazing day.